You're welcome here if you're she, he, we or they. You're welcome here if you're gay, straight or working it out. You're welcome here if you're in a relationship, single, divorced or widowed. You are welcome here if you're inked, pierced, both or neither.
You're welcome here if you're young.
Or young at heart.
You're welcome here if your neurons like to be typical or like to be spicy. You're welcome here if you're more Christian than Colin from Witch Hazel or haven't got the whole faith thing yet.
You are welcome here if you're living on a prayer or could use a prayer right now. You are welcome here if you've got it all sorted or if you've got doubts. You are welcome here.
As moon rises, the sun slips sight, begins the ritual of this night, for those convinced their path is right. Gathered from north, south, east and west, yet called at another's behest, those treading the path that is left. From near and far, come as you are to this place and embrace this space as darker hue embraces you. Of water, spirit, earth and fire, confessing the sins of empire, we come with our wounds and desire. Sensing that we are not alone, drawn to the flame that guides us home, for here, you, me and yet to be. Importance and signs of these times, for the sake of all those maligned, is yet the home of the divine.
Good evening as well. Good evening, Torren. Excellent. Hill salutes you. She's still missing in action. I put her somewhere ready to have a suitable place on the wall. But I can't remember where the safe place was that I put her. Sorry. Hey, up in me duck. God bless the Midlands. I just need to go to the door. In the meantime, pray tell, what are you thankful for? What's lifted your soul, your spirit since last time we met? Please do say in the comments. And hello, if you're kind of watching but not commenting, you're welcome to comment. No pressure to at all.
Hear the crowd as we roar. See the eagle, it soars. Wind and rain, refresh the threefold name, and rekindle the flame. Faith, hope, and love they remain. The song shall stay the same. Like it's all gone too, shall we be downcast too? Or stand shield to shield, together in the field? We refuse to yield. Steadfastly holding the line, full of wings in eternity's time. We keep pressing forward until the last, and our cry shall be forever truth intact.
For those who have completed 35 books so far this year, we salute you. Yes, we are definitely playing Hide and Seek. That is nice, my friend. I like that. Hope the sunshine has been good for you. If you've had sunshine, depends where you are in the world or the country, I guess. So thank you for sharing what this day has made you say. Cheese and tack. But as we know, there are things in life that are heavy and not in a cool metal way. So I invite you, if you would like to share what those are, the things that we carry that hurt, the things about ourselves, the things and words and things of others, things we regret. If it's helpful to acknowledge those in the hope that we can perhaps express them outside of ourselves, rather than in here and all the feeling of that. That we can, hopefully, there are things that we can lay down and leave here in this moment, and turn away from. So So let's lay those things down with an invitation to share in these words.
The principalities and will to power, the worms from within my own darkest hour. I confess all the regrets and the regrets, the burdens and fears, the lament and the tears. I lay them down.
And as we do, I believe that the divine, the all-parent, the other, that which is beyond all of us and is the only thing perhaps that can overcome the barriers between us as the human race, comes to us in the person of Christ, running out, arms open wide to meet us, saying, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, even if you don't like Iron Maiden, though why wouldn't you? And I will give you rest." So now a reading from the Bible, which is metal. So metal is made of paper. The Metal Bible. So this is using the Word in Time daily kind of suggestion for a Bible reading each day, available at methodist.org.uk. If you go to there and click under faith, and then the Bible, it takes you through to some questions for Methodist Day of Life to think through each day, and also an invitation to join an online kind of Bible study where they post a reading each day and some comments as well, a kind of discussion there as well. And this is the reading not for today, but for this coming Sunday, which is Mothering Sunday. So traditionally, I think dating back to when people who were often away from families working in service, domestic service, were able to have the Sunday off and to go back to see their family. And as would be kind of not just expected, but pretty much required, you would go to your mother church, your original home church, the one where you were kind of christened, baptized. So Church of England, so infant baptism. And so it was, a holiday, and obviously over time, that's also then come to mean Mother's Day. So an opportunity to just acknowledge and to be thankful for and to celebrate those who, in whatever way, regardless of gender, this is not about gender, actually offer something of the maternal to us, whatever our own experience of our own human mothers. So I think also something about acknowledging within all of that the sacred feminine as well. So this happens to be the reading for the 5th Sunday in Lent. So it's this Sunday, which happens to be Mothering Sunday. So it's the parable of the lost sheep. So I'll read it. So reading it from the Metal Bible, which is the New Living Translation. I find quite quite nicely. It's quite expressive in its language, I think. Now, the tax collectors and the sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. So, that's the very people that those in religious authority were not fond of, because they were not keeping the kind of Mosaic law as would have been understood, or they were taking the coin from the oppressive Roman regime. People who were kind of sort of social pariahs, and if you were a good devout Jewish person, you perhaps wouldn't want to tolerate and be around with these people, kind of making yourself spiritually unclean. And yeah, like Jesus was hanging out in a crack den. But the Pharisees, so those in charge, religiously in charge, and the experts, and the vicars, ministers, and people who were kind of experts in Jewish spiritual biblical law, said, muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Like, dude, what is this man doing? This is not okay. Jesus told them this parable. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Does he leave the 99 in the open country to go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbours together and says, "Rejoice with me, I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who do not need to repent. I wonder if that's a familiar story. I wonder how you hear it today. Maybe you've heard it previously. I guess, I'd love to know in a kind of comment if there's anything you want to share. I'm just checking. Recognizing I'm going to talk about this on Sunday. I think there's something about the radicalness of Jesus in there, that it was challenging to what was before. It was unexpected. It was uncertain. It was dangerous in terms of, change. We fear change, but kind of saying, look, and it's not kind of say, well, all of you people who are devoutly faithful people. It's not saying you are less important or like God doesn't care about you, but kind of going, but you're all right. You are part of this. You are part of this flock. And so actually to go out and engage with people who perhaps have never heard that maybe that I believe that they are carriers and custodians of the divine, made in the divine image, that they are inherently and eternally loved, known, named, and valued just simply because of who they are, that the world is a better place because they are in it, no matter what other people have said or done or how they're treated, all those things. That is, if as a result of what happens, one person hears that message when perhaps they've only experienced exclusion and criticism and control, that invitation to freedom and fullness of life, then it's a reason to celebrate. It's a reason to get people around and celebrate. And maybe that's what happens in the world which is beyond ours, in that metaphysical space. And I guess similarly to some of the stories since doing this, I guess, that have in between the sort of knocks of criticism and questioning and tutting about what you do, but also about within that, because you do it from who you are, about who you are. When there's occasional times where you hear from somebody that in some way all of this makes a little bit of difference. That makes it all worthwhile, even if it all stops tonight, tomorrow. I recognise I'm struggling to get from that to kind of, Mothering Sunday. But perhaps there's something in there about the persistent love and care, which, ideally, I guess, we'd want either to offer if we are parents or to receive if we are children. That's not to say that, people can have very, very different experiences to that. So I'm not, recognising that we're having this conversation between the now and not yet of a time when heaven fully kisses earth and there is no more crying or dying. but something about the perseverance, persistent commitment, belligerent love that perhaps is that part within God, that is, all parent, beyond gender, but surely absolutely includes all the best of what we might be as human caregivers and as human beings towards each other. Yeah. Good evening, good sir, and howdy back to you. How is Texas today? I'm just picking up Torrens' comment. Well, the cartoon of Jesus finding the last sheep after the rest of the flock kicked them out. Oh, that's cool. I haven't seen that. That's nice. Yeah. So maybe this was a sheep that was a bit of a renegade, a bit of a rebel, wanted to go their own way. Yeah, but actually, Jesus kind of goes, yeah, but you're still part of this. We are still connected and together, and actually, let's find a way for you to be. Let's find a way to understand each other and all be part of this together, rather than other people excluding you. And I suppose this kind of echoes. That's interesting, Tom. That's made me think. It's kind of echoes of the treatment of Joseph with his brothers. I guess Joseph is potentially comes across when you read the story as a sort of the favorite child, and the ego the size of a planet, and no wonder people didn't like him and kind of like wanted to get him taken off by all sorts of people, but yet somehow in God, the divine, the other, all things hold together, as it says in Colossians. Within all our differences, that there is something that still unites us. So it is raining in Texas. Oh man, it's just starting to. Spring is springing here until I think the next couple of days, but it does rain, in which case spring has sprung and gone rusty. The spring, I mean, which is what happens when you leave metal out in the rain. Either that, or your sort of tape goes wobbly. So recognizing that perhaps Mothering Sunday, in terms of the way it is marked as Mother's Day, in sort of, I guess, within society in a secular sense, can be a little bit difficult can be difficult for many. In the words of Megadeth, "Learn to Dance in the Rain." That was a fantastic song off of Super Collider. Probably the only good song on Super Collider. No, there were some good ones. Well, there's some nice bass bits from Mr. Ellison, but that is one of my absolute favourites on there. That is that is an anthem for me. "Dance in the Rain." Also a song by the Levelers, "Dance Before the Storm." Absolutely. Zebedee, stop it. It might be not a great day and time for whatever reason, for many reasons. So I just want to share this, which was put together by Kate. I guess it's following in the tradition of Psalms and the Book of Lamentations, and the idea that it is acceptable to be encouraged. There's a strong history and heritage, millennia old, of including Job, being absolutely upfront with God, the divine, the other, the all parent, and going, what is going on? This sucks. Yeah, if you are God, then how long? And if you are God, then why? And so this comes from that place and seeks to offer that, within all of that sense of a promise of all things holding together. In the words of the hymn by Charles Wesley, that
there's human love and all the things that it says, patient, kind, etc. But as humans, we can absolutely make a hash of it. Between Eden and the tree, which is the healing of the nations in the book of Revelation, then we're in that kind of in-between time. But yet our human love ultimately is taken and changed from glory into glory. And so maybe some of that, we might know some of that love for us as we are, the love that I believe is Christ on the cross, linking that tree in the book of Genesis and Eden and human beings doing their own thing. And because we can be like gods, we can be we'll do our own thing, and then we reap the consequences. So Jesus on the cross links that tree on his tree of Calvary, or Golgotha, place of the skull, and the tree in the book of Revelation that is for the healing of all the nations. Not that doesn't say all the differences kind of are obliterated, that somehow, in a way that only perhaps something beyond us can do, the divine, the other God, the all-parent, because we've had many millennia to try and do it, and we're still, as the world shows us today, pretty rubbish at it. That God, whatever word we use, ultimately that can be, it's from all nations. So there's something about our connection as human beings and our interrelationship being that sort of one human family, I guess. So let's get some. We've gone punk. So just share this for those for whom this is helpful, and it will be there on Sunday as well, on the Metal Methodist page.
For those who feel sadness on Mother's Day, God lift those who are without mothers or who are without mothering. God embrace those experiencing the loss or absence of their mothers and those who are hurt remembering them. God carry those who yearn to be mothers. God see all maternal acts of love, whoever delivers them. God bless every type of family, be they related by birth or chosen to be a loved one, for everyone is your child and is part of your family.
Is there anything we want to bring as and for prayer today? I think we mentioned the way that people are being treated in certain parts of the world. Obviously, the news of this huge earthquake hitting Myanmar, felt across several countries, and stuff that's going on perhaps for you and for those just let us know in a comment on Facebook or YouTube if there's things that you want to bring and offer to the all-parent.
arms open wide, with pierced side. Within defeat, hiding a peace, eternal release. When striving cease, stay with me. Pray for me. Arms open wide, with pierced side. Crown of thorns for all my scorn. I feel your breath as you love me to death.
So with Isabel praying, that help and support gets through to those affected, about those who've just have nowhere, either life destroyed or, everything gone, just everything changes. And with Gisela, people in Turkey making their voices heard, and the way that authorities are responding to that. And the Light and the Darkness Festival in Sweden. And good friends. Metal for Jesus, Metal Bible International, Nordic Mission, who are going to be there as well. All those involved, and Metal House as well. That will be all it needs to be for people. So we offer whatever it is that we need to in our offering to the All-Parent for this night.
To the one in whom all people and all creation have their being, may your kingdom come, your will be done, as above, so below. Sustain us for this day. Show us grace as we seek to show grace to those we feel have wronged us. Save us from the worst that is within us and within this world. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen. May the peace of the All-Parent be ours this night, and with all people and all creation, in the time that is to come.